Am I the a-hole I upset my pregnant wife and caused her to cry? My wife is 2 months pregnant. Yesterday was my birthday. When I went into the kitchen, my wife told me that she was going to work and wouldn't be home until 8. She didn't even acknowledge my birthday. I asked her if she had made any breakfast. She usually cooks breakfast for me on my birthday, but she told me to manage with cereal. I thought maybe she wants to surprise me or something and just kept quiet. My parents, siblings, and friends called me after that to wish me. I cooked lunch for the both of us and drove to my wife's office to spend time with her. I sat in the park opposite to her office waiting for her to come out for lunch. I think one of her colleagues saw me waiting for her and informed her. Because she came down soon after and told me to go back home and not embarrass her in front of her colleagues. I handed her the lunch and asked her to at least have it instead of the cafeteria food. She took it and threw it into the trash. I was hurt and embarrassed, so I immediately left for home. I was really upset by then and no longer wanted to spend time with her. I went to a movie, ate at my favorite diner, then went to the beach for the rest of the evening. When I went back home, my wife surprised me with a cake and party. My in-laws and parents were there. I ignored my wife and went back into the room. My mom got mad at me because apparently my wife was crying. I then proceeded to narrate everything that happened that day to everyone present. My mom was the only one to side with my wife because she's pregnant. My wife defended herself, saying that her colleagues were teasing her by calling me a hand-picked husband. Now my mom is saying I'm being a baby and that my wife is pregnant and I shouldn't be making her cry. My in-laws and my dad are supporting me. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Having a surprise party has nothing to do with throwing the lunch in the garbage. Obi stated that wife agreed and knew he would be there. Then she backtracked when her coworkers made fun of her. These are two separate issues. She made you think she did nothing for your birthday so she could surprise you later. People think that makes the surprise bigger. It doesn't. It just sucks. She is the a-hole for the way she handled lunch. She is the a-hole for not addressing the situation with you later, apologizing for it and having a normal conversation about it. Also, being pregnant doesn't mean to get to be a jerk and then cry when someone calls you out on it. It's not a get-out-of-jail card for awful behavior. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You're obviously looking for attention from your wife. She tried to hide your surprise party by hurting you and pretending she forgot your birthday. She was overly mean. Who cares if her friends made fun of her at work? They only did that because they're jealous. She threw the lunch she brought in the trash. She should not have been crying over your reaction. She should be crying over her awful behavior. She ruined your whole birthday and wants to cry since you don't want to see her now. Absolutely not. Just because she's pregnant doesn't mean you don't have feelings, that those feelings aren't valid. Hormones might be the cause of it, but it's not an excuse to be a prick to your partner. I could understand not making breakfast. It feels funny not to acknowledge your partner's birthday, even if you have something planned for them later. The lunch thing was totally uncalled for and totally would have ruined my day. She shouldn't really give a crap what her colleagues think, especially if they're using an insult like handpicked. They're people who aren't worth worrying about. Happy belated birthday. I hope you enjoy the movie. Next story. Am I the a-hole for turning the oven off while cooking Thanksgiving dinner after my husband kept shouting orders at me? I, 33 female work-from-home job, have been married to my husband, 37 male working in the military, for a year. We had a long-distance relationship, and I'd met his family a handful of times. I wasn't allowed to take part in Thanksgiving dinner preparation till I was officially married into the family. This year, my husband invited his family to spend Thanksgiving with us. I was happy to cook Thanksgiving turkey for the family. But the thing is, whenever we're having guests over and I'm the one cooking, my husband pops into the kitchen every few minutes, literally shouting stuff like, "So how we doing? The chicken's not ready yet? Hurry up, let's go." And "That shrimp ain't going to cook itself." And let's go, come on. Guests are starving." And "You're too slow, move faster." And "Come on, let's go. Like I was in the military or one of his recruits. P.S. frog voice from constantly yelling. Him constantly pressuring me like that cost me so many injuries, because I crack under pressure and get really stressed, resulting in having accidents. Thanksgiving Day, while I was cooking dinner, he did the same thing. He kept coming into the kitchen saying, "Folks are getting hungry. What's taking you so long?" Then full on shouting, "Come on, let's go. And "Hurry up, let's go, move." I was like angry at this point, and his family were dumbfounded. His mom offered to help, But I said thanks and warned him to stop or I will stop cooking. But he doubled down with an expected 4 minutes. Let's go, let's go. I stop, turn the oven off, and tell him I was done, no more cooking. He starts arguing with me saying he can't stop mid-task. But I apologize to the family and tell his mom she was welcome to finish the turkey. But he didn't allow her and told him he was taking them to eat out to spite me after what I did. I was shocked. I didn't expect this. They literally got in their cars and left. He got home by 11 and said what I did, turning the oven and refusing to serve his family who were guests, were tasteless and irresponsible. I said it was putting me under pressure, and I couldn't take it, but still said this was on me since he is used to military routine. And I'm acting like I'm surprised with how he tends to get things mixed up between work and home. It's been days that he keeps cold shouldering me for ruining our first Thanksgiving with his family. Despite saying I'm not angry, I got better things to do, his family's pissed. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Get out. This man is abusive. He orders you around and punishes you when you do not comply. He then uses the fact that he's in the military to excuse his actions and place the blame solely on you. His family have his back, so he will get worse. Get out early before that happens. This is who he is. He is an abuser who thinks he has a right to control you and punish you how he sees fit. Girl, both my grandfathers fought in World War II, and they knew damn well they'd been enlisting for World War III if they spoke to their wives that way. The military is no excuse. Your husband is an abusive and grateful a-hole. Not an a-hole. Right, he can't implement certain methods from the army in the household. It's an amicable and hospitable environment, not a meddling for a fight. So, when's the divorce? The behavior you've described is clinically termed verbal and emotional mistreatment. No one should ever have to endure that, especially from a spouse. Not an a-hole and you're being mistreated. There's no sugarcoating it. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for standing on a chair while 7 months pregnant and then blaming my husband when I almost fell? I'm 7 months pregnant and I can't reach the top shelves in our cupboards without standing on a chair. I wanted to make a snack, but I couldn't reach one of the ingredients to make it. And climbing on a chair at this point is both difficult and not something my husband wants me to do. So I went to ask my husband if he could get it for me. But he was on an important work call, so he told me to wait 5 minutes. 5 minutes turned into 30, and by that time he had to be in a meeting which lasted over an hour. I got impatient and I was hungry, so I decided to just climb on the chair and get it myself. I was just grabbing it when my husband walked in and asked me what the hell I was doing. I didn't hear him approaching, so his voice scared me and I almost fell off the chair. He tried to use it as justification for why I should have been on the chair in the first place. But I told him it was his fault because if he hadn't scared me, I never would have almost fallen. I also said it was his fault because he had not got it for me when I asked. And he said he was sorry but he had a meeting. I asked him what the point of being the boss was, if he couldn't be 30 seconds late to help his pregnant wife quickly, which in hindsight was a petty thing to say. This really upset him, and he told me not to blame him and that I shouldn't have used the chair in the first place, since we had already agreed I wouldn't. He also told me not to do it again. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. Buy a step stool like an adult, or rearrange your pantry. I think everyone sucks here. If you walk in a room and see a pregnant lady standing on a chair, yelling suddenly is a truly terrible reaction. Really should not yell suddenly if you see anyone balanced on anything that isn't aware you are there. She could have fallen off his step stool as easily as a chair if startled. You're the a-hole. This wasn't a husband dinking around on his phone, tinkering with a car, gaming, etc. He was on a work call and you were impatient and wanted a very specific snack. You could have waited, but chose not to. Be an adult and take responsibility for your poor choices instead of blaming your husband. Your husband took responsibility for not asking for a quick break to help you out. You're an a-hole for not taking responsibility for your peace in this situation. Next story. Am I the a-hole for having my wedding on brother's divorce anniversary? I, male 28, have been engaged to my fiancé, female 26, for almost a year. What caused the delay was my future mother-in-law falling sick. My fiancé and I decided to have our wedding on January 11th, 2022. We've already booked a venue, set the guest lists, food menu, etc. My parents live hours away, but once they received the invitations, they called to confirm the date, then demanded I drop everything and come alone to talk about the issue they're having with the date. I took time off work and went to see them. and they sat me down to remind me that on the 11th of January 2 years ago, my brother Isaac, 30, got officially separated from his ex-wife of 8 years. They went on about what a dreadful day that day is for the family at Isaac, and told them he won't come to my wedding since this day happens to be his divorce anniversary. Unless I change the date, since he said he's planning on getting drunk and crying his eyes out for doing what he did, and caused his ex to leave him. I was flabbergasted. I couldn't tell if they were kidding, but I politely said I'm sorry, but not changing the date, period. Dad angrily said, "Why the rush? You have a lifetime ahead of you. No harm in moving the wedding date. Think about it." I explained that my fiancé and I already paid for the venue and set everything up, so we can't cancel it now. Mom firmly told me to leave my fiancé out it because she had nothing to do with the conversation we were having. I got upset and said I'm not changing my wedding date. And Mom said that I'm clearly choosing a day-long celebration over my brother, and warned me that I'll have to live with the fact I ruined my relationship with him over this. Dad added, telling me to think of it this way: I'm getting married on the very same date my brother's marriage ended, and asked how I can possibly not feel guilty for having my wedding anniversary be my brother's divorce anniversary for years to come. But I argued that Isaac's only himself to blame for sleeping with someone else while married, and my ex-sister-in-law was right to decide she was having none of it. My parents justified it as he was drunk, but the outcome's the same. Before I left, they said if Isaac isn't coming, then they too won't come to the wedding, which devastated me because I want my family with me to share my joy. Because this is a big deal for me, and I wasn't sure if my parents have a point, seeing more and more family are saying they won't attend if I'll still have my wedding on January 11th. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and I'm confused. I'm currently going through a divorce, and I already have at least 3 anniversaries. The day she left, the day she told me she definitely wasn't coming back, the day the decree nisi was granted, and there will be another when the decree absolute comes through. Then of course there's our wedding anniversary, the anniversary of the day we met, and her birthday. So many dates that people can't steal for happier reasons. Clearly, I've been doing it wrong, because I have completely failed to demand that my entire family arranges their life around these poignant but ultimately meaningless dates. I hadn't realized that I was supposed to spend the rest of my life mourning a marriage that is over and refusing to enjoy anything else. Yeah, it's the same reaction I had when they told me that, which is just ridiculous. But whatever Isaac says goes, I guess. Not stay home. Your parents sound like awful people. Prioritizing your brother's bad decisions over your most important day. If anything, that should be a day they want to forget and should be glad to have a happier anniversary to replace it. Also, who the hell celebrates their divorce anniversary? That's seriously messed up. Oh, boo-hoo. I'm a garbage person who cheated on my wife and she left me. Let me ruin this day for everyone else for the rest of my life because of my bad decisions. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for siding with my husband when he insulted my brother? I'm 27 female, the youngest of 4 children. 31 female, 33 male, and 35 female. I got married 6 months ago to my high school sweetheart, 27 male. My husband has been part of our family since we had our first anniversary together. He knows all my family members and they adore him. My family is very problematic though. All of them, except one of my sisters, are babying my 33-year-old brother too much. My brother is single and he's disappointed no woman approaches him. He used to date a girl 3 years ago, but she broke up with him because she couldn't deal with his immaturity. My brother is very immature and has a superiority complex. He's always putting other people down, he's very judgmental, and he always wants to make himself the center of attention. He's also insulted my husband behind his back multiple times, and I've gotten huge fights with him about this. He has admitted he's mad that my husband, who's younger than him, has his life set, and he thinks my husband owes him respect because he's older, and demands my husband never speaks of his goals or achievements in front of him. It's gotten so bad to the point we've gone low contact with my brother. My mom, dad, and one of my sisters believe that life is unfair for my brother, and they said they wish he had what my husband and I have. My mom also believes that my brother is too good for any woman, since no woman deserves such a precious person like him. I'm now pregnant with my first child, and I invited my family into a casual dinner to make the announcement. We invited my brother too. But then during the announcement, my brother commented something along the lines of, "Oh, now my dear brother-in-law is showing off about knocking up my sister," which was very insulting to both me as a woman, but also my husband. Then my husband then replied to him, before I could talk, and told him, "With this attitude, you still wonder why no woman puts up with you?" You complain about being alone too much for someone who displays behaviors that will be the reason you stay alone forever. Now apologize to my wife and then to me. My mom, dad, and sister sided with my brother, but my other sister sided with us. I told my brother that he either apologizes or he walks out, but how he ruined our announcement with his entitlement. My brother got up and left. My parents and sister stayed, but my mom and sister took me to the side and told me I'm the a-hole for siding with my husband and embarrassing my brother by throwing him under the bus, and how I could have sorted this out in private without speaking up. Not an a-hole. If you can't handle being publicly called out for being an a-hole, don't be an a-hole in public. No one threw him under the bus. All he had to do was apologize, but he doubled down. OP, would your father be okay someone talking about his wife like that? Or make that kind of statement to his wife? I'm betting no. He'd be okay with a son/brother saying that, because he's had it so hard. Not stay home. Why should your brother be allowed to be a jerk in public, but your husband can't defend you from jerks in public? Right, because brother is special. Well, I guess you should accept that being around your family is just too painful for the poor guy, and you should never subject him to that again. You gave to protect him from being exposed to the pain of your husband's, and your child's presence. Finally, congratulations on your little one. Not stay home. Kudos to your hubby for speaking the truth. Your hubby did the right thing, as have you. Your family are enablers. Your brother will never get better. He will always be dependent on your parents due to the entitlement the enabling causes. Not only is the husband a freaking star for what he did, he's also given advice that the brother should really listen to. He's been more helpful than the brother deserves. If only certain family members could remove heads from bottoms and see that.